Soniqs had a decent performance at recent events, but this weekend, Oxygen by far looks to be having a much more comfortable go at it. Let's see if the Soniqs are able to shake it up and carry on.
So, just how good is this new Oxygen roster? We are still waiting to see where that ceiling will be for them. But for now, they are up against a Soniqs team that they are heavily favored against, Johnny. But hey, it's Europe, and guess what? That reasoning is usually good enough alone to maybe expect an upset.
Yeah, and you've got to keep an eye on this Soniqs team. They've taken down Quadrant yesterday, and they, had a great run despite losing twice to Oxford. They did have a good run in the G1 Invitational midweek, beating Moist in that tournament as well. So they've got some quality wins recently. I feel like they've been playing very well. I've been hearing good things about them as well from players who previously wouldn't be saying good things about them. Oh, look at this. Smoke's actually gets an opening goal. I think he might have faked out the goalkeeper on this one. As a booming clear gets launched downfield. That was the last touch. Yeah, Jarius just thought he was coming back to get another touch on it, and he didn't actually have any cause to worry. It's just gone straight in.
One of the more interesting goals that we will see today. That is the perfect start. Can it get better? No, Rise shuts that down before the shot can go rocketing towards the net. This has been an amazing position for Soniqs to find themselves in. That pass not quite enough. Archie would have preferred to run onto it. A little bit of a kerfuffle there from Soniqs, but at least it's happening on the offense. You don't want that in this position, though. You don't want it on defense. It's Matane. Almost wiped out, but he did enough.
Yeah, well played by Matane. Matane and Arju have a long and, I'm going to say, sad history with RLCS at times. Getting so close, only to lose at the last match, only to fall at the final hurdle. So, many different iterations of the roster. They've tried with Cash, they've tried with Ixo, now they've got Soniqs, a Northern Irish player. And this is, I think, going to be the first time a lot of people in the wider Rocket League audience have seen Soniqs play. And I think you're going to like what you see. This guy really has gelled brilliantly with Arjun Matane. In the short time they've been together, he scores again. That one rifled to the top right corner. Left no chance for the goalkeeper for the second time in a row.
Nothing fancy about this whatsoever, just pure power. And not a single thing Jarius could do about it. And yes, I believe there's a lot of fans out there as well, Johnny, that have a bit of a spot in their heart when it comes to Matane and Arju. Arju especially, I feel, after his debut as that substitute role. I believe for Mouse Sports, it was a while ago now, actually. But everyone just sort of wants Arju to now go and succeed. Is this the roster to go and do it?
Yeah, there's a long list of players and teams in the past who have benched Arju, who have decided to go and team with other players instead of Arju. And, many of those players are now players we don't see at the top level. Meanwhile, season after season, Arju just keeps on making it back in. This is a no pressure kind of matchup for them, I feel, because no one's expecting them to win this. We don't expect them to win this. I don't think they themselves will even expect to win. They're just going to go out and give it their best shot. But that underdog factor has favored Arju and Matane well in the past. It's suddenly when all the expectation is for them to win that they've struggled in the past. So this is ideal circumstances for Soniqs. That's my one angle that I like about them today, is that they're the underdogs. They tend to do well when they're the underdogs.
Well, the angle they really like at the moment is the fact that they've got 2 goals to the better after this game gone. And they are still the team looking more likely to score again. Arju ends up missing it. Jarius, with Matane up against him, goes low. Doesn't quite fall into the path of Rise. Haven't seen Oxygen click just yet. It's time to probe now. Smokes up against Rise. 2 players committed. Arju's going to see an opportunity to maybe turn back around, instead backs away from it. I'm ticking away here. Jarius with Rise to the side, decided to go by himself. Not quite happening. So Soniqs, not just good at offense, but holding strong in defense as well.
Yeah, Jarius was looking to use the infield pass as a fake there. Hoping that the defender would lunge too much on that side and give him a good angle to 50 it towards the near post. But it looks like the Soniqs defense, the Soniqs midfield is going to be up to the task so far. They've had an answer to all of the Oxygen mechanical plays that we expect to see from this stunning roster. Is that going to be a hat trick? Indeed it is. Smokes has scored on a breakaway, and he has just been Joria's worst enemy in this game. Scoring on him twice when Joria's in goal, now just dispossessing him and scoring a third with no goalie back. Well, Soniqs has made quite an introduction to the quarterfinals for himself and his team.
I was just looking at that one from Rise's POV and just got caught on the jump at the worst possible time, but at the same time, I don't really think I can blame him because there wasn't a challenge from his teammate. You do not expect it to be won that easily, and nobody was expecting Soniqs to be winning this game this easily. 4-0 points. They are running roughshod over one of the tournament favorites.
Well, Oxygen, we talked about the favorable mentality that Soniqs might have here, thinking of the underdogs, and CJ brought it up in the pre-match that, maybe Oxygen have got a tendency at times to underestimate their opponents, and that's the worst thing that they could do here. Having played Soniqs 2 times recently, you'd think that they wouldn't underestimate them. They've played them twice in the past week in a community tournament. But they actually destroyed them both those matches. So maybe they're coming into this match today thinking, okay, it's just going to be another easy match for us, going straight through Soniqs. Like they're not even there. But you've got to remember the community tournaments, they're phenomenal. But they never match RLCS perfectly. RLCS is a different caliber of competition. It really is just the ultimate test in the Rocket League world. Oxygen get one. They can't even get the shots on target. That's going to be clean sheet for Soniqs if they can hold on for 20 more seconds.
Definitely look at that tournament as just fine-tuning the last few bits. Well, whatever Soniqs have changed, we'll hope that they can keep this up for another 3 games, because it is Oxygen who have been annihilated 4-0 in game 1 and have got to go and find themselves some answers. Did not even get going here, Johnny.
Yeah.
Look at the offense that they had. I mean, there were shots towards the goal, but there were no shots threatening the goal.
Yeah, for all those shots, it really, didn't look like a problem for Soniqs to handle. The quality of shots that we've come to expect from Oxygen was really missing in this game, but I think more so, defensively, they were a shambles. I mean, Joria's got a little bit confused in that first goal. He probably had his eyes on Soniqs, who he was flying back towards the ball. Second goal, he also gets a little bit out of position, left the near post top corner 2 open. And then, third and fourth goal, third one is a risky play from Joria's as well. So maybe just a little bit of a slow start from Joria's in particular, although it's not like he had help in any of those defensive plays from his teammates who were getting dusted and were not recovering to make it back. Always going to be easy to criticize the goalkeeper there who's getting scored on, but where was the rest of the team? The best teams in Rocket League defend with their team, not with one player at a time. So Oxygen have to help each other out and mainly help Joria's out a little bit more.
When you see those plays, do you only get into those positions because something happened else? Okay! You know what? Joria's, there will be no complaints coming your way this time, pal. Metane went off!
Yeah, that's fair enough. I feel like when someone hits an angle like that on you off the back of an air dribble, you can say safely, well played.
Well played. That is it on that one. Rise gave him a nice one.
Yeah, he did. He dropped a nice one in the chat here, or in the quick chat, like Shoga's saying. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to be too upset about how they defended that one. Obviously not ideal to lose the kickoff to the left-hand side. Kind of falling for that back corner strat. Now look at this. Archie is going to be 1v1 with Archie. He might be going for the bump. He hit the first touch a bit too high, though. A bit too far in front of himself. But look, is there Soniqs testing the woodwork again. It's all Soniqs in game 2.
And Soniqs' performance so far has been to the point where him not scoring there is considered a disappointment. Archie up against Archie! And he needed to put it behind him, just didn't have the boost to get to that side of the ball. Oxygen are barely hanging on already in this game. Could so easily be 2-0.
It should be. That should have been 2-0, I think. The shot wasn't as accurate as it could have been. Especially given the fact that Archie was under pressure from another player trying to bump him as he's making that save. You've got to back the 2 to score there. The 2v1 to come out on top of a single goalkeeper. But yeah, we're talking about Oxygen having to help out Joria's in this game. It's Archie that needs to help him goal this game number 2. So, what's happening to the defensive structure of Oxygen? They just keep on ending up with one player alone at the back. Soniqs are threatening every time.
I do like the way Soniqs are rotating out of offense. They're just making sure that they go through the angles that Oxygen would prefer to be going themselves through. Just making you pause for a second, make sure you avoid getting bumped. Matane maybe asking a little bit much of himself now as Arju starts to go quickly, recognizing that the 2v1 was starting to develop. Now, as much as we did say, Johnny, it should have been 2-0. This is the point of the series now, where Soniqs, as good as they are, have only got the one. And anything starts to go against them here, I think a lot of people will very quickly go back onto the Oxygen train. Cannot afford to only ride off the peaks in this series. They need to make sure mistakes aren't happening, a bit like the one Oxygen gave them.
Yeah, Arju just getting in the way of the defenders on the back wall there, making it as awkward as possible for them. Now Rise and Joyous have collided in defense. Well, Oxygen certainly look disorganized at the defensive end. And they have missed those opportunities to get the big air dribbles started, the big pre-jump plays started. The aerial game that this team is so well known for has been completely missing so far this series. They're going to lose their back corner boost as well. Not that it was a terrible idea for Rise to play the bump instead of the ball, but Oxygen is not being rewarded right now. The Soniqs' efficient style seems to be generating more pressure, more chances, and giving them full control of the match.
Well, off the demo, can they turn that ball in? They're not going to get a better chance than that one. Wiped its feet on the way past on the goal. Still, 1-0. Is this going to be the one? Now crossbar overpowered. Archie cannot get the ball past Matane. We go to the opposite side of the field. Oxygen still scoreless for nearly 9 minutes.
That's a pretty unfortunate bounce for Oxygen off the underside of the bar to clear the ball when they had all the pressure there. And before that, Jory has landed a demo on a goalkeeper, accidentally cleared the ball in the follow-through. So it's just all gone wrong for Oxygen there, but they have had chances and they've not taking them with the quality finishing we're used to seeing from them. That's not the best clear from Matane. Arju smokes both jump. Arju comes away with it. In that situation, a double commit makes sense because you've just got to get something on that. You cannot allow Oxygen to come away with the ball in those positions. What can Rise do? Reset. Not going to be his until he reaches the backboard. That's the backboard that's well defended by Smokes.
Just the anticipation that we are seeing from Soniqs has been incredible. Matane does have Arju downfield, but Arju does not have the boost to do anything with that. 30 seconds. It'll be half the job done. And I will reiterate, no goals for Oxygen. Given the star power and the talent on this roster, that is never a sentence I was expecting to say. Demo from one. Joris is going to try and hunt down Smokes. Challenge off the backboard, but there's nobody around. Arju clears. Smokes jumps up again. He's going to be a long way off from recovering, which means this is the chance. And it does not go in. Shot in the middle. Easy to save. Oxygen have to keep the ball up in the air. Smokes tries to guide it back down. Not happening just yet. Matane booms the ball across the field. 2-0 Soniqs.
Well, it's been pretty close to the end there, the second half of the game. A lot more lively from Oxygen's POV, but not enough to get a goal. Denied by the crossbar. Denied by last-ditch efforts on the goal line from Soniqs. And I think at times as well, Oxygen denied by their own inaccuracy today. Their first touch has been a bit off. I think we saw one glorious opportunity for Jorius around about halfway through the game. He had a set up for a solo air dribble, and the first touch wasn't ideal. Second touch had him losing control of the ball. I mean, compare that to Matane, who's going to be thrilled with himself for scoring in the first few seconds of this one. Yeah, clearly Soniqs have just got their number right now. Like, that's such an unfortunate play. Tough to read, very tough to read where that ball's going to go when you got a near post demo like this, but it just didn't fall for Oxygen, and they couldn't get the goal despite every effort they made. Demos, solo plays, team plays, couldn't get the goal.
And that is now the longest Oxygen have been held scoreless all season long. Not much of a surprise. I'm more surprised it took this long for us to hear about the fact that Oxygen have been held scoreless for that long. And Johnny, do you agree? No timeout. Bit weird, Oxygen. I feel like that was the time to take it.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that we've not seen a timeout there. In fact...
Oh my goodness!
They've conceded
it's that
again.
Guy.
Great placement by Smoke's. He saw the challenge coming towards him. He just delayed the shot slightly to wait for Rise to flip past him. Rise anticipating an earlier contact on the ball. Just airs the block. Smoke sends another one into the Oxygen net. Well, I feel like this might be just a little bit of pride from Oxygen, thinking we don't need a timeout. We're better than this team. We're just going to beat this team if we play our game. But that's whether or not you're the better team, whether or not you're the more mechanical team. I'm sure Oxygen will consider themselves. Everyone has an off day. Everyone has a bad series here and then. And they've got to get it together here. There's no goals. Soniqs are just scoring consistently every time that they're getting these opportunities.
I'm sure Soniqs will make the argument. Yeah, we had our off day. It was when you guys beat us. Now Rise, reset number 1. Wanted to take out Metane. Unable to do so. Surely. No, not surely. Not whatsoever. I'm just counting upwards at this point now, Johnny. 11 minutes. No Oxygen goals.
Well, you know, an interesting thing to note is the group Oxygen played in yesterday was being called the group of death when everybody saw the draw. German Amigos, BDS, Oxygen all in one group. Well, that thought.
Oh, there you are.
Goal. It is the first goal. The bump connects. Timely fashion for Archie to run the ball into the net. They want to prove that they were in the group of death yesterday by winning this, sending a Group D team into the semi-finals. But, you know, if Soniqs can close out this series, if Vitality can win against Moist, that would be 3 teams from Group A all making the semi-finals. So that would confirm Group A as the real group of death, not Group D as we previously thought.
Now, time for Oxygen to try and put all of this behind them and work from the position they're in. Have got their first goal. Problem is, though, is this hasn't looked like how I was mentioning earlier. Oh, wait a minute, Rise. Oh, wait a minute, Rise. Surely that goes in. That was some heavy lifting from the corner. And for the first time, Oxygen have got the lead.
What? That is a 1v4 play from Rise. A 1v4. He 50-50s the ball through one defender, fakes the second one, 50-50s it through the third defender, and then bumps the recovering fourth man. How does he hit a 1v4 playing 3v3? It doesn't add up, but that's just how good Rise can be. Unreal. And a great finish as well. Well placed from Oxygen.
That is the reason why they were so intent on getting him onto this roster. Just feel, though, that this is now the testing point for Soniqs. Were they just going to peak for 2 games? Or are they going to continue to bite back and make every single game as difficult as possible? Rise, he's cut past 1, well, he's turned it in. For all the work he did early for the assist, he deserves that goal.
Well, this game has been about 2 things for Oxygen. The physicality and the control. You're seeing a lot of controlled touches. They're just holding the ball when they get a chance to do so. Compare that to the first 2 games where they were just trying to boom the ball past Soniqs and then beat them in the aerial battles, beat them in the races to it. And, you know, that's something Oxygen can do if they're on their game. But I don't think they are on their game today. I think they made a very nice playstyle adjustment. And credit to them, coming up with that without a timeout. Just trying to go for a more grounded-based approach and a more bump-heavy approach, realizing that actually Soniqs are playing very well in the quick game. And look at this, Smokes has just scored again. Well, that has caught Oxygen by surprise. The stealing pitch from inside his own half.
Oh my God. Smokes is going to have a lot of new fans by the end of this series. Incredible. He's been absolutely incredible. And he's got his team plenty of time to find this next goal. He might even do it quite quickly here as Metane almost landed on it. Instead, Archie waiting in the midfield. Archie gets enough on the ball. There's Smokes again. There's that moment of anticipation now every time he's on the ball.
I think, how many goals is that now? He's scored, I think, 5 goals, if not more. Forgot how high they ran up the score in game 1, but what a series for Smokes. He's playing out of his mind. And RJ Metane have been solid as well, but yeah, Smokes is completely still in the show here. Does get dusted to that ball, though. Maintain with a bit of work to do. He catches the ball effectively, offloads to the Talisman. He's been on fire today. He's a 2v2 grinder, he is, Smokes. If you like to watch your Rocket League streams, they're pro players in EU, Q, and Ranked, I'm sure you'll know who this guy is. He's a very, very active player in the 2v2 ladder. So he made a name for himself outside of the bubble scene. Yeah, definitely one way to put an exclamation mark on that introduction. They need one more. They're going to come back in game 3. Look at this. It's the same thing. It's another bump from Oxygen. They've done it every single time. And the timing of the shot, once again, is just perfect.
That was not a bump. That was suplexes to try and get rid of Smokes. And you're going to have to do nothing short of it to get rid of him at the moment. This is, however, massive for Oxygen. Because they are doing... Every time we look at a series that has gone this heavily in one direction, and suddenly the next game, we're seeing something a little bit different. The main question that always comes to me is this something you can replicate? For this style, absolutely, for Oxygen. If anything, they are asking less of themselves than what they were previously doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very easy to keep this going. It will be entirely up to Soniqs to adjust and realize what Oxygen have done this game. I mean, if you're going to sit back and wait for hard clears and the other team just doesn't hard clear the ball at you, they just control it and dribble it towards you, then, okay, you need to start moving out and challenging earlier. I think Soniqs are going to be quite happy to do that as we progress through the series, but not able to make that adjustment mid-game. They've been caught too many times. You can't leave just one man back. We saw Oxygen being punished for that in games 1 and 2. The isolated defenders being outplayed. It's not just on the ball outplays you have to look out for. That's almost a fifth there from Oxygen. A banger it would have been. Oxygen showing you've got to look out for the off-the-ball plays as well in game 3. Putting one on the board in style. 2 games without scoring. Well, now they've managed to score 4 in 1.
No timeout needed. Easy enough. Just change everything. That's what you got to do. As Oxygen have got themselves their first game win. And it was everybody not sort of leaving the other players out to dry when it came to defense. Did a great job of maintaining the pressure, making sure that they've got transition options. I think most importantly, when you are looking towards both Rise and Jorius, they were never isolated. And that is a big, big difference maker for this squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just look at all these goals. I mean, every single goal involves some kind of physicality, some kind of ball control. And we mentioned earlier on in the series that Oxygen's ball control didn't seem to be on point. Sometimes it's something I've seen a lot from Jorius in his 1v1 career, in fact. If he's having an off day with his big aerial mechanics, which I'm sure all of you know he's got in spades, he just goes back to a very simple game. And that's, I think, what Oxygen have done here. They don't have to pop off with the huge aerials and the pre-jumps and the double resets and all of that. They've got a good fundamental game as well to switch up to. It's very difficult to defend against a team who can make these adjustments on the fly like Oxygen have. I'm sure Soniqs didn't expect that. No timeout, no indication that there's going to be a big switch up of play. So maybe, I think we need to give them more credit for doing that without the timeout. Could have been an intentional disguising of their intentions. Timeouts do telegraph changes the game player coming.
Well, for Soniqs, can't really blame them too much, given what they had seen from Oxygen. There really wasn't much of an argument to be made that there'd be much of a fight at all. Oxygen, though, proving that if you want to get into those sort of point-scoring totals where you can qualify for a major, you have to go through the very best that the region's got to offer, and they will consider themselves that very team. Huge opportunity, though, for both squads. Who can get that front foot when it comes to getting over to San Diego? Jorius realized that he was under pressure from Smokes, can still become the target. It was surrounded by blue cars, and it will be back to the drawing board. Oxygen start back up from their own backboard, and Archie, they'll be happy to play from here, actually. Good challenge. Who's going to be first to it? It's Matane, and now he's got his own opportunity. Smokes in the midfield if he wants him. Instead goes low. Maybe the wrong decision.
Well, that lob pass from Soniqs is only going to find Jorius, who has his shot intercepted in the backboard. Look at Jorius just lingering there. Didn't immediately leave. He just stuck around in the goal line just to be a nuisance. potentially redirect the ball if it comes straight at him. This is just annoying for Soniqs to have to deal with. The cuts of rotation from Oxygen, having a much more tight retreat close to the ball. Really denying those counterattacks Soniqs were able to generate earlier on in the match. That's a heavy hit from Matane. Swatted away by Rise. First goal going to be crucial here. Soniqs have been the better team in the series as a whole. But once you give Oxygen a little bit of momentum, they can run through absolutely anyone. Maybe the team with the highest peak in the world last split. Now they've got Rise in the roster. You have to imagine that peak has only risen.
Jorius is going to go for the follow. It's loose. Rise around. Unable to truly threaten the goal. Archie now with his own chance. He's got over the top of the ball. And in fact, overdid it when it came to finding that angle. Still scoreless across 2 minutes. But Soniqs are seeing less and less of the offensive side of the field. And when they do get it over there, it's a loose ball that Oxygen can just retake over of the game and set themselves back up for offense. Maybe the best chance we're going to see here is Rice. Happy that that ball got to him so early, because that meant he could go before being demoed.
Well, that was almost disastrous for Oxygen. Look at this from Smokes. He's hit the underside of the bar. That was
It has been 3 minutes since Smokes last scored.
He's due. He's overdue. But yeah, a little bit more patience, I think, with that previous push from a Soniqs. It would have been a guaranteed goal if the shooter just let Arju arrive and bump the goalie. Oh, that's not the clear ball that they're looking for. Arju sends it top corner. Well, Oxygen have gifted them that one. Jorius panics, gets no distance on the clear, does not control the ball whatsoever. Yeah, you can't blame Archie from letting that one through. Absolute bullet of a shot from Arju.
Well, we've got many mechanics in Rocket League. We've got the Musty, we've got the Breezy. Unfortunately for the defensive side, that one was called the Whoopsie. Catastrophe over for them over on Oxygen, as they are getting themselves back into form. Cannot be giving up those sorts of goals. Matane from the ceiling. Now Soniqs getting more and more looks at the net. There's nobody around. So much of a shock there. I don't think anybody from Soniqs was expecting it to get that far.
Another quiet game as well now from Oxygen. Soniqs just getting bodies behind the ball. And, when you're in these close quarters, it's obviously a lot harder to get those dribbling plays going, the ones that worked so well for Oxygen in the previous game. Arju's downfield here. Goes for a bit of a specific touch on the ball instead of just looking to dust his opponent. Oxygen leaving plenty space over the top of them. Oh, the drop down pass will go through. The vision from Rise is met gladly by Archie. All it took was one small miss there. Arju didn't get the read, didn't get the hit, and free
he
jump.
jumped the wrong way.
He didn't get the right angle there after jumping off the post. It's an awkward one for sure.
I would love to re-see that one, because I'm 90% certain, which means I'm 100% wrong, that he had it without the second flip.
Yeah, you might have lost bearings of which direction his car was facing. I'm sure he tried to flip towards the ball, but of course if you turn your car just slightly too far past the vertical, then suddenly a front flip becomes a back flip becomes a front flip, at least in terms of which direction your car is moving. So small margins for error there, and panic situation definitely. I don't think you can blame Matane too much. Arju did miss the ball completely in the run up to that, so mechanical misplay certainly. Under pressure though, immensely.
Oh wow, and that's almost got through. Rise back to Archie. Doesn't put it into the net, and now on the breakaway, Archie has to try and get rid of the ball away from Arju. Back down again. Smokes, the man of the hour, needs to get back in form. You don't want to see this series getting tied back up. What a pre-jump that is from Archie. Yeah. That was certainly some belief, if anything else. And almost got it again. Well, Archie is adamant that if this is going to happen, he's going to be playing on the front foot. Instead, it's Smokes. From Jorius. Matane had creeped up a little bit too far forward. Still makes something of it, but we are going to go to overtime.
Well, Soniqs just one goal away from triple match point. They have got someone in the area here. Even though the ball's in their back corner, they should be fine, but that's the miss from Smokes. Chance for Rise. Arju's up for it, but not quickly enough. Rise drops it down, but it's going to be easily saved. In fact, Rise's attempted dunk goes backwards.
Rose takes it under control. He's got past the first one. Can't outplay the entire team. Staying now to the backboard. Tries to take on the challenge. He's going to want some support very soon because he is out of boost. There it is from Soniqs. Boost coming out premium across the field. And is that the opportunity?
Oh,
yes,
wow.
It is. Wide open goal. And Archie has got his team their second win. And despite maybe a lack of a good start for them, they are well within this series yet again.
It was Rise on the recovery, just catching that third man of Soniqs by surprise, demos him to remove him from the field. That left the net completely open. So well spotted there from Rise, showing that, you know, you shouldn't always rotate back post. If you're being told by your friends who are coaching your Rocket League, trying to help you improve, to always go back post, now I would question that. And you maybe look at this play as an example, because if you're not doing anything if you're rotating back post there. Rise knows that. He just goes straight back to the play, straight back towards the ball, creates a goal-scoring chance for his team, and they've taken it in overtime.
And that is Soniqs' first overtime loss of the event. They were 4-0 going into that one. Now 4-1, and most importantly, 2-2 in this series. Oxygen have turned this back around, Johnny. Who have you got as favorites? I mean, given what we've seen, who is now the favorite in this series?
Well, you know, it has to be Oxygen. I think Soniqs missed their chance there. A couple of close opportunities in that last game. But from 2-2, it's very difficult to see them breaking the Oxygen momentum. You know, maybe we could see a Game 7 here, but Oxygen have to be the favorites from here, from this position. The mistakes did start to creep in from Soniqs as well. Remember the miss from Arju, leading to Matane being stranded in an awkward position, and then him missing the ball as well. You know, these are the inconsistencies that can start to creep in those high-pressure situations. You know, the Oxygen are going to create plenty high-pressure situations with the way they're playing now. Full physicality, full aggression. Maybe full win if they can keep this up. Archie's over 2 here. Doesn't get the rebound, but Jorius is there for it and has to be saved low by Soniqs.
I will say, Archie's not had tremendous success with a lot of those plays, but he still goes for them no matter what. He has got tremendous self-belief, but that is an exceptional play. Everyone from Oxygen involved, annihilate the goalkeepers.
I mean, the touch from Archie to center the ball from that position is exquisite. And the vision from Rise, completely fooling the entire defensive team of Soniqs. They were all on the goal line. They're all expecting a shot. And Rise just effortlessly drops it down for Jorius to score. You know, that's reminiscent of Nolly's pass to win the fall major right there. And it's an effective strategy if you've faked a shot before infield passing like that. Absolutely perfect.
I feel like that goal from Nolly is going to stick with me for a very long time, because every single time I see any sort of touch like that, now I just go, oh, that's what Nolly did. There is Matane. Will not trouble Archie whatsoever. We will find out whether or not the opportunity has gone by them, because for the first time in this series, they are currently losing. They need to start turning this momentum back around. But you've also got to look at the way that they were winning, and the way they were winning was off unattainable levels of brilliance that we were getting from Soniqs. Is it maybe asking a little bit too much for not just him or for anybody on that team to regain that sort of level?
Oh, definitely. I mean, they've reeled it in a bit. I think they've tried to counter this heavy bump style that Oxygen have gone for by just making sure that they've always got 2 players back. And when you've always got 2 players back, it means you rarely have 2 players forward. And that has limited the pressure that Soniqs have been able to generate on their attack, just giving control to Oxygen.
Going for him.
Yeah, they're still able to connect those bumps even if there are 2 defenders back. It's saved well there by Soniqs, but they don't have the opportunities going forward that they previously did. And Soniqs can't hang with a peak Oxygen mechanics level, which is what they're starting to reach now. If we're talking about the mechanics looking a bit off for Oxygen earlier in the series, now they're getting into gear. They've got another gear to go to still, but they're putting it together now, but they're becoming unplayable.
when we do see potentially using 2 players back as a way to counter those demos, you have to also say, you'll take that. If you're Oxygen 1 player for 2 players, oh, absolutely. Go back down, Rise already around. Pulls the backboard, Mitane has to chase. Still have only 1 goal between them. Jorius. Midfield, Rise pops the ball back up. He's going to scramble back. And we're not too happy with leaving that ball where it was, but still Archie's kept him out of any trouble. Maybe for the doink goal, Theory mate. That was not far off. And the fact, I know Colin Stumpy are livid right now because it was the other dodge that took it away from it.
He didn't jump. You've got to jump there. We want to see the clean double jump pop. Everybody's favorite redirect. Yeah, the pros do love to dodge into that. It will give the ball a tiny bit more power. Makes it significantly harder to hit, though.
Archer's going to have to get back in time. Now Rise, time on the ball. Is that something you're gonna regret every single day?
Yeah, too much space. Rise, past 1. Arju didn't have the boost to recover. Soniqs did not read what Rise had planned. Easy goal there for Oxygen at the end. Some of these assists have been phenomenal. I mean, Rise assisted the previous goal as well with the purely positional play. Now, almost purely mechanical play to assist the second one. They're finding all kinds of different ways to score. Uh-oh. That was almost
there just yet. Jarius goes for the top corner. Smokes at least keeps his team in it. They need offense. They need that ball. Jarius will lay claim. He's ended up missing it after a little bit of a fake from his opponent.
No.
There was an attempt to maybe give a receipt on the demos. That's not worked.
Yeah, you don't want
to... That's really not worked.
Well, Mitane finds himself on the wrong side of the goal line and can do nothing but jump as the ball hits him and goes in. Yeah, he just got bumped into this position. It's not like he wanted to be here, but... Yeah, unfortunate end of this game, if this is to be the end of the game for Soniqs. Comeback looks way far in the distance at the moment. Yeah, like you mentioned, they tried that to give the Oxygen a taste of their own medicine with the bump, but they didn't check to see if there was anyone behind them who actually had control of the ball before sending the aggressors forward.
They're still going for it. They're adamant they're getting one, and almost again they got punished. Archie couldn't find the pre-jump into the ball. But this is now game number 5. Out of the way. And this is what I really love about this esport, Johnny. It's the fine margins, because we can now go back in this series and we can find the little moments where if maybe something goes a different way, that is fully Soniqs in the driver's seat for the series. You go back to the overtime. You go back to game number 4. And instead, it's Oxygen who hold all the cards. Maybe 1 goal for the road. But that road leads to Neo Tokyo, and that road leads to double match point for Oxygen.
Yeah, 3 straight games as well. They're clearly the better team at the moment. It's an interesting series where Soniqs, by the way, have just called a timeout. This one, of course, does make sense, facing double match point. It's such an interesting moment in that 3rd game. Oxygen making a massive playstyle switch up without calling a timeout. So that probably came as a surprise to Soniqs when they ran into Oxygen
it's something that they've practiced, because you don't look that smooth that quickly.
Well, you know, they went from just trying to beat Soniqs to the ball, because I think going into game 1 of this series, Oxygen probably thought we can just be faster than this team. We've beaten them twice this week in a community event. We were faster than them then. Let's just go and be quicker. Let's dust them. And it didn't work. They actually ended up being in the losing end of some races to the ball. So they just thought, well, if maybe we're just not on our game today with the speed, with the precise touches. Let's simplify. Let's just dribble them. They're giving us a bit of space here to come at them. Let's use that and get physical in the final third. Now, like we mentioned, Soniqs tried to play a bit more defensively, defend as a unit to counter that playstyle. And I think it's really taken the sting out of their pressure that they had earlier in the series. They had plenty of opportunities earlier in the series, need I remind you guys. But now that they're playing almost not to lose, it just doesn't look like they've got any threat for Oxygen to worry about. That's a big problem.
And again, we do keep going back to it. Well, I at least keep going back to it because it was that good. But Smokes, He's cooled off, understandably so, but they now need some sort of step up. Because, well, it goes back to what I said, Johnny. It has to be something that you can repeat, especially when we get into the quarterfinals. We hit those best of sevens. You know, best of five, it can kind of be blink and you miss it at times. You lose those games. You're already up against match point after 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, that can really, really rattle a team. But when we get to best of seven, it's only half the job done. You still have that timeout if you're a team that isn't Oxygen and actually want to use it. It's just difficult to really blitz a team in the way that you might be able to in an earlier part of the tournament.
Yeah, it's very difficult in this kind of position for Soniqs because they, like you mentioned, they need this game or they're out of the series, but they also just need to figure out something that can get Oxygen to feel uncomfortable again. Oxygen clearly were not comfortable at the start of the series. They didn't look like themselves. I think they were a bit surprised by the pace and the consistency that Soniqs were able to bring to the table. Can Soniqs produce the goods again and actually cause problems for Oxygen? It remains to be seen. Let's see what they're going to attempt. Well, they're not going to get much done with plays like that. Smokes quickly recovers to scramble the ball clear. It shouldn't have been there in the first place. It's a huge miss from Soniqs to allow that half chance.
Arju is downfield. Doesn't have the boost really to stick around with that one. It has been in a position we've seen him in a few times as well, where he can be target man. He seems to be positioning himself for it, but he also only has 12 boost. Maybe something to look at in the future. Smokes daring somebody to come towards him. Jorius is not going to be playing that game. Dead back to Archie. Contain, pass two. Gets the support. Archie takes over mid-air. A little bit creative from Soniqs. Now they've got offensive positioning. Really, really need this first goal. Rise gets that little bit of time. He's got a lot of respect. Nobody charging him down for any sort of bump, demo, or challenge. For a stalemate to start us off on game at number 6. Oh, there's the player gone. Yeah, there's what you were worried about.
Well, what a selfless couple of games these have been from Rise, who's come up with some spectacular assists in the previous game, and now in a position where I'm sure the vast majority of Rocket League players worldwide would have taken a shot on that redirect. It was coming at him so quickly. It must have been tempting, but he thought, no, I'm just going to drop it down middle and demo the goalkeeper. I mean, that's just selfless gameplay from Rise to pass the ball off to his teammate and leave the net open, but it was defended by a recovering Soniqs player. They've got to keep an eye out for Rise. He is slotting the ball to his teammates in the final third consistently, and it's causing Soniqs problems.
I said that Rise has been the main proponent of that demo style. Zero boost again for Arju. He's just really struggling to get to the opposite side of the field with anything in the tank. Now Archie looking for the solo play. Has he got it? No, Arju shuts it down. Saw already on though that he can hit those sort of angles. Now Jorius, Rise to Jorius! Jorius to the back of the net!
I think that just sums up Rise in the past couple of games here. Receives the pass from Jorius. He could have shot that himself, but no, he passes back. Jorius from point blank range to send it through the goalkeepers. For just phenomenal vision from Rise there. And again, a completely selfless play where it would have made perfect sense to shoot. If Rise decides to shoot that, that's not a bad play. He would be well within his right to do so. But I think he's picked the better option there. And for, I think, the 5th or 6th time in a row, this outplays the defense rather than shooting at a defended net.
You can see it. Mitane had to pre-jump that. The moment you see that, you know it's checkmate. Just, all right, you're pre-jumping, but that ball's not going anywhere near where you thought it might do. Soniqs really, really, really need this next goal. They are heading out here. And would maybe like to prefer their tournaments be remembered by those first 2 games than what we've seen in the last 3.5. But they are starting to see right now that when it comes to European Rocket League, there might be a level to it. And Jorius is that level above.
Yeah, Arju nearly connecting with the bump there. Jorius with a phenomenal effort to dodge that while making the save. There's the difference, or at least one of the differences between Soniqs and Oxygen at the moment. Oxygen, you feel, would have hit that. And oh dear, it's all gone wrong. It'll be 2-0. Jorius accepts the downward pass from his opponent. Arju just getting the read all wrong, tries to knock it to the side. He instead centers it. In fact, he puts it on his own goal line. And now Soniqs have it all to do.
Well, if they're going to win it, they're going to have to bookend it. Start off brilliantly, end brilliantly. Jorius back over again. He seems to be going strength for strength in this series. There's a couple of good blocks, actually. Maybe a chance. They're going to try and rush it in, and Matane has cut the lead in half.
Well, that's something out of nothing. Rise with a bit of a mistake. Tried to outplay there. He didn't get behind the ball with that 50-50. He was trying to slot it past the incoming challenge by faking a wall play. And it wasn't all that convincing. And that risk has remained unrewarded.
Jorius to re-establish the 2-goal lead, and it is right back. The moment Sonic started to hope may have been snatched away from them yet again. Archie even still boosting the fast. Just to try and add a little bit of insult to injury. 1 minute and 8 seconds. Sonics need some magic.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to get many more gifts, especially not from Rise, who's shown that he's such a versatile player today. Doing so much work for Oxygen off the ball, doing so much in the playmaking role. I mean, he's not really, I think, historically been known as a pure playmaker. He's known as a goal scorer. He's broken scoring records. He's, often the finisher when he was playing for Moist and Team Queso in the past. The guy coming in to slot the ball after his teammates have forced the opponents out of position. But now he's doing that on Oxygen. He's showing that he's quite happy to offload the ball to his talented teammates. That's a terrifying prospect for anyone watching this. Oh, half a chance for Smokes here. And he doesn't get the shot on target. There's no one there. If that was an intended pass, it wasn't communicated early enough.
Maybe the last real throw at this one here. Pass back out to Smokes. That's going to be up high. Follow required. Archie gets rid of danger. Jorius sees it to the opposite side of the field. Yesterday, Johnny, we spoke with Leaf and asking, could there be another team that steps up the same way Team Queso did last season? Rise over on Oxygen says, if there is going to be one, they're not doing it by beating me. Oxygen, after a rough start, have annihilated the next 4 games, and they move on to the semi-finals.